Hello clowns. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about whether my house is haunted, and I guess I'm going to be talking about stories from me and other people who have been to my house. So I do believe in ghosts, but I'm a little skeptical, so like when something happens or someone tells me a story, I'm like, are you sure? Like this and that. So I don't usually say my house is haunted. I say, I tell people about what has happened in the house, and I'm like, this is like the evidence. Stories aren't technically evidence since they're not recorded. I don't have any evidence of most of these stories except for one where I did a voice recording upstairs and I got something on the voice recording. So my house was built about 90 some years ago by Ben Moyer, who created Ben's Bread. When we were doing renovations upstairs, on the trim we found some writing on the boards, so that was pretty interesting. So I asked my parents about like who owned the house before us or if they have any papers on it, but they don't know who lived in this house besides Ben Moyer, who built it as a summer home. So I'm not really sure who's lived here besides my family and Ben Moyer and his family. I'm not sure if anyone's died here or if there have been any accidents here. So yeah, let's get into the stories. Ever since I was young, I was scared to go down the hallway to my room, which originally was this room when I was younger. I was always scared to go down the hallway because that's where all the rooms are, down like this kind of longish hallway. I would often run down to my bedroom down the hallway because I was scared there was something in the hallway that would get me. I don't know, just generally the hallway felt like one of the scariest places in the house. The hallway and the attic, which is where my room's gonna be. Obviously I've gotten used to the house over the years. So I will start with my story because it's the easiest for me to talk about, obviously, because I experienced it. So I was in junior high when this story takes place, and at the time I was in the room that's now my brother's room. We've switched rooms a few times, so at that point I was in that room and I was asleep, and all of a sudden I woke up suddenly. You know, when you wake up normally, you like slowly wake up, you don't like jolt awake. When you wake up, you're usually like groggy. So I woke up suddenly, like I was wide awake. And I was having no nightmares while I was sleeping. I have no memory of having a bad dream. I was just suddenly awake. And there was this face in front of mine. It was like this white face with like no eyes. It almost looked like it had like makeup on. It had blue like around the eyelid area and like pinkish red on the cheeks, almost like it was wearing makeup. And I didn't see it for like a second and then it disappeared. It stayed there for 5 seconds or something, just like, and suddenly this face that I'm just staring at, it starts like floating away, and my door was closed and this face starts floating away, and if I keep my eyes on it the whole time, it floats until it's at the top of my door frame and then it disappears. After that, I was kind of freaked out. I was just staring at that area for a good minute or something, and then I turned around and I was like, okay, I just have to go back to sleep. I'm not gonna worry about it. So that was it for my story. Next is my friend Mika's story. So I am a part of this one. I was there for it, but I was not conscious. I was asleep. So one night when I had my friends over, including Mika, we were all starting to go to bed, and there were 3 of us on the fold-out bed. This was a while ago, like over a year, probably 2 years. And there were three of us on the fold-out bed. There was Mika, I was in the middle, and then there was another friend beside me. I don't remember which one. So I was asleep at this point, and Mika was up on their phone, and suddenly, apparently, I have no recollection of this whatsoever. Apparently, I suddenly sat up in the bed with my eyes still closed, and Mika turned to me and asked me, "Are you okay?" And apparently I, with my eyes still closed, said, "He's not anymore," and then laid back down. Now, I'm not saying that I was possessed, but it sounds like I was possessed. That one obviously sounds scarier than the last one, because I'd rather have a calm ghost watching me than be possessed by something. Sounds like it was talking about Satan when it said he's not anymore. Like, what? Should I go see an exorcist or something? Yeah, so that was probably one of the most terrifying things that's happened to me, but I didn't remember. But that's also not the first time something like that happened to me. I'm not gonna tell the other story because it doesn't have to do with my house. It happened at a hotel. So if you want to hear about that, like, I don't know, leave a comment or something. There's a few stories to do with a hotel we stayed at 2 years in a row that turned out it was haunted, but we didn't find that out to the third year where we stayed at a different hotel. So now we're moving on to my dad's stories. He has 3 stories he's told me about over the years. My parents moved into this house, I think they said like 20 years ago or 25, like about 5 years or something, a few years before they had me. The thing is, all of my dad's stories have to do with him checking the wood stove, which is outside. It's how we heat our house. All of his stories have to do with him going out there to check the wood stove and then seeing something. The first story he told us about was the time he was out checking the wood stove and he saw a guy in the woods just standing there, and he called out to him. No response. The guy just continued to stare at him. He didn't say anything, he didn't move. So my dad called out to him a second time. So my dad decided to start walking over there because he was like, "What's this guy doing here? What the heck?" And then about halfway to getting there, apparently the guy just disappeared. My dad doesn't believe in ghosts, and he's had the most experiences with something weird here than the rest of my family. So the second story, again, my dad's out at the wood stove. He's walking back, and our driveway's there. We have a pretty long driveway. It comes up the hill, and then there's our house, and then there's another house, and then if you keep going up, there's my friend's summer home up there. He was coming back from the wood stove, and he sees someone walking up the driveway, and he described her as a woman in a white dress with black hair, which is literally the most stereotypical, like, ghost ever. She also apparently just disappeared when she got, like, into our driveway or something. She just vanished. The third story of his doesn't have to do with seeing a person. So he was out at the wood stove, obviously, and no one was home at this time. I don't remember where we were. This was a few years ago. I was likely up at my friend Zeppelin's, but apparently no one was home at the time except for him and our pets. He was out at the wood stove and he suddenly saw the bathroom light turn on, apparently. So he decided to go back in the house to, you know, see what was going on. When he got in the house, it was off again. And then he went to sit down at his desk, which faces right down the hallway to the bathroom. Our bathroom's right at the end of this long hallway, and my dad's desk is at the other end. and our cat came and sat at the end of the hallway at his desk and was just staring down at the bathroom. And my dad was just really freaked out by that. So that was his third story. That's all my dad's stories that he's experienced, and he still doesn't really believe in ghosts. So, very interesting. And with that, we are at the final story, which is the recording I did in the attic one day a year ago. And I sat down there, turned off all the lights, had a candle, one of my creepy dolls, and my phone to voice record. And I just started asking questions, and over again I kept going, show me. 6 minutes and like 12 seconds into it, I got this. So if you didn't hear it that time, I'll turn it up and just listen really closely. After I say show me in the recording, almost overlapping my voice, you'll hear a little, who are you? So that kind of like got me excited because I was like, oh my god, I finally have something. So that's all I have. As per usual, leave a like if you want, if you'd like to see more stuff like this. If you'd like to see more stuff like this, I may share the stories from other places I've been where stuff has happened. My elementary school that I went to was pretty terrifying. Has a graveyard in the front. Yeah, leave a like if you like this content. Leave a comment about things you've experienced. If your house is haunted, if you've been somewhere haunted, I'd love to hear about it. I love that kind of stuff. So yeah, see you next time, clowns.